In the wake of the 1990s economic upheaval, a small Romanian firm set out to revive a proud railway legacy. Founded in 1999 in Craiova, Romania, Softronic's mission was to modernize locomotives and keep alive the city's 50-plus-year tradition of electric locomotive building. In an era when many local factories were closing, Softronic survived by focusing on rebuilding and upgrading aging CFR engines. By carrying forward the old EA-class designs into new life, it transformed into a leader in railway rolling stock construction. This pioneering spirit allowed Softronic to grow steadily, even as Romania's heavy industry contracted. The first generation of Softronic machines were heavily modernized exports of Romania's communist-era EA designs, reclassified as Class 47 Phoenix. These locomotives delivered about 6,600 kilowatts and hauled heavy trains across regional lines. Starting in the late 2000s, Softronic began installing all new cabs and electronic upgrades on these engines, and by 2009 it had its first fully original design, paving the way to entirely new Softronic models. Building on that experience, the company developed its first purpose-built freight locomotive, known as Transmontana. This 6-axle Coco wheel arrangement electric locomotive, introduced in 2010, delivers about 6 megawatts of power and can run at up to 160 kilometers per hour. With a weight of roughly 120 tons and 15 kilovolts or 25 kilovolts AC dual voltage capability, the Transmontana was engineered for European use. And because of that, it has full ETCS signaling and multi-system equipment for cross-border service. By 2014, 16 Transmontanas had been delivered to operators in Romania and Hungary. Later builds added crash-optimized fronts and winterization for Nordic service, after orders from Sweden's Green Cargo, requiring operation in -40 degrees Celsius temperatures. By mid-2020s, the Transmontana fleet was spreading across Europe. Users include private Romanian and Hungarian rail companies, Sweden's Green Cargo, now with dozens of units, plus operators in Austria, Slovakia, and elsewhere. All Transmontana locomotives carry approval in multiple countries. For example, recent units are certified in Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, and Croatia. In freight service, they routinely haul 3,000-ton trains, showing the design's muscle. Softronic proudly note that by 2024, the Transmontana was the most advanced electric locomotive made in Eastern Europe, approved across the bloc, and that over 90 units had been produced. This homegrown locomotive puts Romania on the map as a supplier of modern traction, not just a consumer. Beyond locomotives, Softronic even built Romania's first fully domestic passenger train set. The Hyperion is a 4-car electric multiple unit introduced in the 2010s. It rides on Jacob's bogies, shared wheel sets, and seats around 150 and 188 passengers, with a lowered center section for easy platform access. Crucially, Hyperion is dual voltage 3 kV DC and 25 kV AC and carries four 430 kW traction motors. It underwent tests, reaching 176 kilometers, and is offered in a 160 kilometers per hour version. Softronic deployed Hyperion on open-access routes as Craiova to Bucharest and Constanta under its Softrans subsidiary, proving Romania could design and run its own regional high-speed train. Cut to the present days, in 2025. Softronic took a big step by starting a locomotive leasing service through its Softrans branch. This links their manufacturing with long-term operation and maintenance. Then, in late 2025, Softrans signed a contract to lease 2 brand-new Transmontana locomotives to the Romanian freight company PSP Cargo Group. This addition complements the 1 Transmontana locomotive that PSP Cargo already owned, so now their total fleet includes 3 units, 1 purchased and 2 leased. These programs will roll out of the Craiova plant and into international freight service for PSP. This deal makes Softronic the first Romanian company to lease new electric locomotives on the EU market. The Softrans proposal includes full maintenance and servicing by Softronic's teams, meaning customers get modern traction without capital outlay. And also, as the company explains, Softrans targets operators needing extra capacity for short or medium-term peaks, providing not just locomotives, but a full-service package with it. In other words, the leasing model brings clear benefits. Rail operators gain flexibility as they can scale their fleet up or down by contract term, avoiding a long-term debt commitment, and also all major maintenance is outsourced to Softronic, freeing the lessee from upkeep headaches. Because Transmontana units are built for European interoperability, multi-system electrics, and ETCS onboard, they can seamlessly roam across national networks. This supports the EU's decarbonization goals. Electric freight locos like these help shift traffic away from diesel trucks. Indeed, rail is already a green transport mode. An EU analysis notes rail freight contributes only about 0.5% of transport CO2, while moving 18% of freight volume, and nearly all trains are mostly recyclable. The EU's mobility strategy even calls for a 100% increase in rail freight by 2050. Softronic's leasing initiative, making clean electric locomotives more accessible, directly aids this push. It shows how Romanian engineering is plugging into Europe's broader rail freight expansion and green shift. Today, Softronic is not a tiny shop, but a mid-sized industry player. It employs around 500 people and has built over 90 locomotives to date. In 2024, the company reported revenues of about $41.4 million with net profit around $2.8 million. Softronic's success is especially significant for Romania. It demonstrates that a domestic engineering firm can design, manufacture, and now lease next-generation traction units alongside the big Western European builders. It raises Romania's profile as a high-tech industrial hub, rather than just a market. In practical terms, Softronic's locos are now a common sight in continental freight corridors, and a Romanian marque will soon ride rails internationally under lease, a first for the country. For viewers who followed our earlier coverage of Softronic, this leasing milestone is a powerful confirmation. It vindicates the earlier narrative that Softronic was an underappreciated company on the verge of breakout. What once was a niche locomotive overhaul shop has grown into a full-cycle rolling stock innovator. This lease deal, the first of its kind by a Romanian firm, underscores Softronic's ascent in Europe's railway industry. In the story of Eastern Europe's industrial rebound, Softronic now stands as a leading character. Designing robust electric machines, building them in Craiova, and projecting their impact all across the continent, in line with Europe's green, high-capacity rail ambitions.